everybody. Welcome to the week in Marvel Avengers Alliance here on G4G. I'm your host, Napalm Dawn, and that's... How the heck did I get that? Okay, that's kind of interesting. I was just trying to get it back to big screen. So, this is the week in Marvel Avengers Alliance Howard the Duck edition, and it is January 8th, 2016. So I just recently was able to get Howard the Duck. I kind of broke down and went ahead and topped off my boxes by purchasing some with gold. I was kind of getting tired of not having him. And I decided, you know what? I know this is going to the middle of February, but I feel like just getting him now because I want to level him. So I have Howard the Duck, and he is currently level 8. So he's very close to level 9, and I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how I work with Howard the Duck and how I plan to ISO him and everything like that. And, you know, I'm somewhat surprised. I have discovered that I thought he was going to be nothing but just major support in the game. Kind of like just a bard in some RPGs and everything like that. Just a character who's not really going to do a ton of damage, but is there to support the team. You know, a lot of RPGs, you have the debuffers that put dots out or some kind of a debuff on the enemy team, and then you have the buffer for your team. And I thought Howard was going to be that. I thought he was going to be the buffer, but it actually turns out that Howard is surprisingly peppy. So now that we've seen him in combat a little bit over here, I'm going to go ahead and pop him up on the team screen. And I have been leveling him in the simulator and recently switched over to the high level simulator for him with Captain Steve Rogers and I believe Magneto. And it's worked out phenomenally well, and he actually holds his own. For Boomerang, there was a point in which I said, man, I really need to ISO this guy because he's kind of getting beat up a little bit in the simulator, even though he can shut down infiltrators. But Howard is doing fine without really needing to put anything on him yet. So he has Eat My Glove, which is a knockout punch. It stuns targets who have combo set up, just like the Carafist that people like to slot in their PvP armory, which is idiotic. If he has Gain Any Grit, he expends it all. In Fury's Closet, we have the Coulson's BFG. It's IDKFA all over again. A little known fact, well, it's not that unknown for people of an older generation, but IDKFA was a code from the Doom series along with ID Clip and IDDQD. Reinforcements is a quick action that does flanked and cornered, so this is the Chitter Chatterbox basically, or Squirrel Girl. More specifically, it's the Chitter Chatterbox. The Neurotripe, which does exactly what the Neurotrope does. The Sun Also Rises, Combat Awareness, and Epiphany. And we have the Friggin' Sword of Hope, which is supposed to be the Phrygia Sword. It is a desperation attack. It's stealthy. It does Paragon Exploiter, so it exploits pressure points. And it does Open Wound. He also has Quack Fu, which puts out the pressure points, the combo setup, and Incapacitation, and Ductini, which is a free action that gives him all kinds of crazy buffs, and it's a very tiny 2-round cooldown. So Eat My Glove is melee and unarmed. There is definitely a lot you can do with this. I would not really go with pressure points because you have a move that puts it out, but it's not too bad. Bloody is a decent idea. I wouldn't really go pugilist on this, but Bloody is probably the number one over there. Knocking is not necessarily required because you'll stun people with the knockout punch, but it's not such a bad idea. And pulverizing makes him do wide open, So, of course, there are other ones out there like exploiting webbing if you're running that kind of a team and whatnot. And then there's the increased chance to hit, crit, whatever. Here on level 2, this one's a very obnoxious one to ISO. It is a lot like Omega Sentinel, but what I plan to do here, if we look, ranged energy, fire and tech, melee summon, buff and tech, melee slashing. Oh, by the way, hack and slash thaco style is an old D&D term called 2-hit armor class 0. This was basically D&D's version of hit chance. Now, as you can see, there is melee twice, but there is also tech twice, and buff is only once. Here is what I plan to do in this slot. I plan to run the upgrading ISO, and I think it's back on the first page, maybe. Automated augmented ISO 8. The reason why I'm going to do this is I'm always going to be doing the neurotripe first. And since it already applies Epiphany, manifesting is out. Gracious is also solid, especially in the current meta with how heavy stamina drain is. But I'm going to use automated because after I use this tech action, the next tech action, which is the Coulson's BFG, is going to get upgraded tech. So that means this will hit for more. What I like to do, he absolutely loves blasters, by the way. What I like to do when I fight blasters is I neurotripe and then I reinforcement somebody. That's the end of the turn. And then on his extra turn for being a tactician, I hit him with the Coulson's BFG, and then it follows up. Over here on Quack Fu, you don't want to do knocking and you don't want to do pressurized. I think Bloody Augmented is definitely the way to go for this one, but wide open you could definitely make a case for that too. And over here on Ductini, which is just simply a buff that he only applies to himself. So with that, you could go with the Blessed ISO 8 if you happen to have a healer on the team. That means when you use this, any heal put on Howard will heal for more. Or you can go with Gracious. Manifesting would not be the way to go because he only applies it to himself. So Gracious is probably the way to go there unless you're so scared about it getting locked out. You could go with the one way here at the end of the store and do the dependable so that it can't get locked out. Honestly, I don't really think the dependables are that worth it. For the E-ISOs, he definitely, as some people pointed out, would make good use of the new Unexhaustible one from PvP, the one from last season, PvP Season 25. I think Unexhaustible would be phenomenal for him. He doesn't really make use of Snappy Service. Perhaps Savant to start him with a shield and the Unexhaustible, because every time he gains his tactical bonus, he will get a little bit of stamina back, whether or not there's a blaster out there. And hell, at level 15, you're going to proc it manually anyway. So that is what I would do. Also this week, we are nearing the last weekend of PvP Season 26. This is typically when the shit hits the fan. This is when we start getting into a lot of volume. So I highly recommend people do exactly this as they go about their day. I'm often in the game because of my 20-minute flight decks, but I always check my PvP when I do that, just to see if any defenses have happened. And if defenses have, and they've been a loss, I counter them. Unless, like, my defense has taken me really above my plateau. If I set a plateau of, say, 1815, and my defenses take me up to 1900, but then I lose one down to 1885, no big deal. Just set your plateau, and anytime you take a loss that takes you about to that plateau, or lower than it, then just go ahead and fight it off. I also like to round up. if possible. So if my plateau is 1800 and I took a loss and I combat it and I'm at 1798, I might let it go, but if I'm at 1795, I'm definitely going to take another. Just because I don't like to be more than 5 points off of whatever my target is. See, that did 3187. If that had upgraded tech, that could be even bigger. And we do have a blaster in this round, which is great. So interesting enough, because Psylocke's telekinetic katana is a quick action for me, I actually have to attack once when it's not a quick action in order to get the tactical bonus. And then I can Psionic Shadow my way into getting a little bit of stamina back. So this is the slashing daily. Psylocke is capped, but Domino was not, which is why Domino is here. And there was something that I wanted to remember to talk about in this video. It was somebody in the stream had come up with a really good idea. Unfortunately, I don't remember what it is. We had been discussing the fact of using the double ISOs of the Mystic ISO that turns everything into magic, and then the Resonant ISO saying that every magic heals. And I had recently done a video where I used the rectifier to make energy heal. So everything that I brought that was energy was also magic. So I was healing off of the rectifier, and I was healing off of the resonant ISO. You can actually take that one step further and bring in the crooked branch, and you would heal 3 times. You would heal off the rectifier, you would heal off the crooked branch, and you would heal off of the resonant ISO, which is pretty killer. But somebody in the stream came up with a really good idea about that whole heal situation, and unfortunately I don't remember what it is. I can say that, of course, if you ran some kind of a blessing like the Staff of Asclepios or Angel, all of those heals would heal for more. So, but yeah, we're nearing the end of PvP Season 26, and it has been a crazy season. I finally went ahead and submitted the tech support ticket today that I wanted to do, and that was a problem with the Hexenjäger. The Hexenjäger is currently acting differently than the Skeptic. The Skeptic applies magic warding to the agent's team. And when the agent dies, the magic warding goes away. Well, the problem is the Hexenjäger does the same thing, except when the agent dies, the magic warding is not going away. And that is extremely bothersome to me. It's bothersome on the principle of why isn't it working properly? Or why is it working in an overpowered state compared to the Skeptic? And the other problem that I have with it is the fact that the Smothering Shadow from the Lantern does phenomenal damage. I've seen it melt teams to maybe 3/5 of their hit points right after it applies, and their turn comes up and they tick down. So when magic warding is up, it's a bad thing for me. I want it to go away so I can start doing phenomenal damage from my Lantern, which could also put out Doom if I need it. So if I take out the agent to get rid of magic warding and magic warding sticks, that's a problem. Null's meteor stacks go away. Curse runes go away. Why does magic warding stay? If you kill Pesty, the whole Faustian bargain and catch 22 go away. So what's the deal? Why is the Hexenjäger broken? So I submitted a ticket on that today, and we will definitely see what happens with that. I really do hope they fix it, because this has become such an obnoxious season. It's crazy, and it's crazy what teams have been able to get away with because of what has happened to HAIF. And I really think the hit to HAIF was just too much. I think there definitely could have been a bit of a middle ground in there that would have worked. And my suggestion was maybe like immunity on for a round, and then it's off, and then you can pull it back up, and then it's off. So it would have to be tactical as to when you gave yourself the immunity. But I don't know. Hopefully PlayNom will listen to their player base and maybe scale that whole nerf back a little bit. So that's pretty much it for the week in our Avengers Alliance. The Christmas sales have gone away. It is highly believed that the Duck in a Box things will continue to go on until the middle of February. A Brazilian group that tends to data mine the game quite a lot data mined the Duck in a Box options and code and realized that it was in there until the middle of February. So if you don't have Howard yet, don't worry. You can definitely continue to earn him. Now, I'm not too sure if that means the missions for the big bursts of Duck in a Box will go on until the middle of February, but at least the boxes dropping from the daily missions will continue into February. PvP has pretty much been exactly what you would expect. You're either running into the follow-up defense, or you're running into something based on Emma or Kurth or Cyclops. I actually ran into 2 Enchantress teams today, one of which had Enchantress and Emma, and the other one had Enchantress and Psylocke, which was Enchantress and Colossus. That was very interesting. That Enchantress I was able to pound quite excessively before Colossus's protection got up. Ran into a really high hit point pesty Enchantress today, which was pretty bad news. That one didn't go particularly well. Turn order was definitely in their favor. If I can't exhaust Enchantress right at the beginning, she can definitely be a problem. So here is our first look at Quack Fu, which will follow up with Eat My Glove. And unfortunately Howard needs to rest because he had gotten some extra turns there. Domino, a blaster that I we might lose Howard. Domino is a blaster that I very rarely use. She's not very strong, but she's got some decent debuffs. There is certainly worse in the game, that's for sure. So of course I do have to do the one more attack. And then I can go ahead and activate mental coordination to give Howard some stamina back. But unfortunately he's bleeding out, so I'm just going to give him the Neurotripe. And we're gonna stay put so he doesn't bleed out. We're losing him. I mean, that's a definite over here. He will bleed out the next turn, even if I do get a Psylocke shield on him. But that's okay. He put up a good fight, and he certainly helped the team. Psylocke, of course, doing work. I ran into a Psylocke Spitfire a few days ago, and that one was not good at all. I've actually been pretty lucky, and a lot of my Spitfires have not been... Oh, we did save Howard. My Spitfires have not been activating the one for all, but this one did, and it was just super bad news after that. And the bad thing about Spitfire is that with that ISO, she can't get combo broken. HAIF will try to combo break her when she activates her level 15 ability, but unfortunately she just walks right through it, which can potentially be bad. Custom only for killing, a very good item, especially in the current meta. This is basically like having Emma on a stick. This is the glass tan. This is the original version. There is a free or quick action version of it, and that is not the Jade or Emerald Prism. That is the original custom Norn stone. And of course the custom electrostatic arm. So there you go, guys. There is the week in Marvel Avengers Alliance, January 8th, the Howard the Duck edition. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if I can remember what the hell Agent Sifu's great idea was that I loved so much. I don't remember. Maybe it was the mystical resonant combination on Howard because of all his follow-up. I don't really remember, but if I remember, I'm gonna put it down in the comments and give credit where credit is due, which is to Agent Sifu, who is on the stream on Thursday. So I hope everybody takes care. I hope you guys have a good end of the PvP season weekend over here. This is currently what I'm running on my offense: the Quit Gun, the Lantern, the Experiment, the Weather Control Device, and the Scroll of Runamaroth. Defense has bounced around a little bit. I had the Channeling Glove in here for a tiny bit when my defense just was losing everything. I decided to put in the Overwatch Protocol, figuring that could be rather deadly with these two, and they were 1-1 since I did that. I figure if the Lunacy is exposing subtle items and the Overwatch Protocol is up and somebody uses a subtle item, they're going to get countered. So that should definitely be interesting. And of course the Elite ISO is here, the Covert ISO is here, and Snappy Service is on the Tactician. So have a good end of PvP Season 26 weekend, folks, and I will catch you in the next video. See ya.